This is MacVoices TV. Welcome to MacVoices TV at BlogWorld in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner, and I'm in the Shure booth talking to David Méndez about Shure microphones. David, welcome to MacVoices TV.
Thank you very much.
So, I guess by way of full disclosure, we should say that under this little windscreen there is a Shure SM58.
Oh, phew.
There would have to be. That seems to be one of the indestructible mics in this industry.
Expect nothing less from the Mac community.
Exactly. So what are you showing off this time around?
We're showing a number of exciting home recording products. As quite a few. We have back here on this shelf, there's some USB microphones and also the sort of normal XLR versions of those if you already have an interface. But the USB microphones feature plug-and-play compatibility with both Mac and the other type of computer. And they have, let me bring one in the shot here.
I've heard of that other kind of computer.
I don't know what you're talking about. This one there's an analog mic gain, so you can optimize your signal level going in. Otherwise, you'd have to raise the volume on the computer, and you could result in noisier recordings. So you have that with a tricolor LED that tells you if you're clipping or not. There's a headphone jack built into these with zero latency monitoring, so you have no digital delay, which can be really distracting. And additionally, aside from the normal master volume knob for that headphone amp, there's a Q mix that lets you blend the playback with the input. So if you need to do some fixes, overdubs, or tracking on top of something, you can do that with this device. It's almost like having a one-channel interface built into your microphone.
And that's what I'm sitting here thinking. You're allowing me to do a lot with a quote-unquote just a mic.
Right. This is not just a USB mic. It's almost like a interface built into the microphone. And there are two models of these. The PG42 is the one that's optimized for vocal performance or spoken word. Comes in a really nice protective carrying case with the shock mount and USB cable. And generally, the street price on the PG42 is $250. We also have the PG27, which comes with this hard mount and a regular box for about $200. For this one's more of a multi-purpose one. If you already have a microphone that you love using and want to hook it up into the computer, we have a brand new XLR-to-USB adapter called the X2U that has the same functionality and controls that I just showed you on the USB microphone, but allows you to plug anything, dynamic or condenser. There is a phantom power switch on this to use condensers, and it's plug-and-play connectability. 48 kilohertz, 16-bit, so slightly better than CD quality audio. And the adapter by itself, street price, is about $130. And we also have bundles with the X2U and our legendary SM58, which we're using right now, and the SM57 as well. Okay. Those bundles are about $200 on the street.
Are these mics geared primarily toward this audience at the show, the home producer, the podcaster, the blogger who's getting into podcasting?
Absolutely. If you're into creating home content, podcasting, video casting, if you're turning your blog into a podcast, these mics are perfect for that application. Specifically, one of our new ones would be great for a video podcast. We do have over on this stand right here, bring it into the shot, our updated Classic. The original Unidyne is now called the Super 55. And it's a super cardioid, or a really tight polar pattern that'll help kind of reduce the pickup of ambient sound. And it's got a nice presence and looks great on camera.
It looks like a classic microphone, but I'm sure the insides are a little better than classic.
Updated Classic, yeah, absolutely.
Now, what does this go for?
About $250 on the street.
It's so easy for people to forget that, we all get hung up in the video, and, how do we look in the shot right now, and where are we, and what are we doing with it? Audio really is what makes video. If you have great great video, but terrible audio, it's not going to fly.
True, absolutely. Audio is a very important thing, and it's sometimes people don't realize that until things go wrong, and then sure enough, it's kind of funny. I've talked to stagehands and producers and people that are doing broadcast, and they say that not that a glitch in the video is good or by any stretch, but usually the audio guys on the first glitch or mistake or pop, they're the ones getting yelled at immediately, because the people seem to clue into the audio very much. It can almost make the video seem better if the audio is really pristine.
Well, in a world where I think we've been now conditioned to see, even on CNN, questionable video coming from satellite phones or whatever, as long as the audio is good, we will put up with the video. If the audio is bad, then it doesn't matter how good it is; it just doesn't work.
It's interesting how we sort of we just expect the audio to be there.
And it's the toughest
because we don't see it. We just expect it's almost taken for granted. Whereas with all the new HD and all that, it's almost like we expect there to be glitches along the way. We don't like it, but it seems like people don't quite understand. Audio sort of has that sort of progression too. I mean, it's getting better and better, surround sound and higher bit rates and things like that. But sure enough, we don't know that inherently. So if something goes wrong, people just start yelling.
Oh, and audio is the toughest thing to get right because it's not, buying a mic is not as sexy as buying a camera. So, you look at these and, well, what's the difference? Well, it does make a difference. That's why I carry this Shure. When I pull it out of my pack, I want it to work. And it does, and it gives me great sound, especially in this kind of crazy environment. So people need to pay attention to it.
Some people, you're talking about a dynamic microphone. Sometimes people jump right for the studio condenser mics. And they do sound wonderful, but if you're in an environment like this or a noisy area, they do pick up a lot of extra sound. The SM58 or that Super 55, those dynamic mics are less sensitive. Doesn't mean they're worse. It just means if you get them close enough to you, they're gonna pick you up well. Maybe not all the background noise quite as much. So that's a tip from us.
Hey, I'm with you. And the studio mic thing, it looks good, but if you don't have your room set up at home in your home studio or wherever, if you've got the dishwasher running, if you've got an air conditioning system running, you're going to hear all of that. And so buying the most expensive mic is not always the best solution.
True. That's a question we get a lot. What people walk in and one of the first questions, what's your best microphone? Well, the answer is it depends, which is the answer to most audio questions, right? It's a frustrating answer, but it's true. We need a lot more information to determine what the best mic is for the job.
Does Shure offer any particular resources like that for someone who's maybe just looking to get into their first mic or maybe make a step up from where they are?
Certainly. On our website, in our support section, educational articles, we have a whole page of PDFs on how-to tips and tricks from the pros, be it there's an audio systems guide for House of Worship, there's a selection and operation of wireless microphones, and actually at this show, and I'll do a little plug, hold up the camera, this is an example of one of those in print form. That is our home recording and podcasting intro book that sort of details how to get started with sort of basic computer recording. It's a really good resource, and those are all available for free on the website. And they used to be available print. You can still get those, but you got to contact one of us directly.
I'm really intrigued to see you starting to get into the USB mics a little more and USB connections. That seems to be something the audio purists sometimes growl about. And yet for the home person who's just getting into this, it makes perfect sense because they don't have to buy a mixing board. They can get the advantages, especially with your adapter, of a full XLR and not, they can spend the money on the mic and not as much on all the outboard stuff that we all like to geek around with, but it just isn't necessary for what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the XLR to USB adapters, definitely very flexible. And a lot of people already have microphones, they've been tooling around with, so this gives them the chance to change up the sound, explore those different options, different types of mics, different pickup patterns, different frequency responses. It's a fun thing to have. But sometimes, the USB mic's a very convenient way of just picking up one thing, throwing it into your laptop bag, and being able to record on the road, too.
Complete convenience. I hope it's been a good show for you.
Yeah. Before we go, there's also one additional thing. I know we talked about the monitoring, the zero latency monitoring. We just released a whole new line of over-the-ear headphones. Sure's been known for our in-ear monitors, sound isolating, but we now have closed-back over-the-ear headphones. There are 3 monitoring models. The SRH240 is this guy over here. Fully expandable, replaceable ear pads, about $60 on the street. So a pretty reasonable price there. The SRH440 is a fully collapsible, fully adjustable headphone. Extremely durable and flexible, and has a bayonet-style twist locking cable on this model and the step above. These are about the $100 price. And then the premium guys, the 840s, are similar features, but even warmer, lusher sound, and still has the bayonet-style cable. So these are great additions for folks that want to really monitor their recording and hear what's coming through the microphone, which is always a good thing to do, because sometimes people don't think about monitoring, and they just record and record and record, and you can save yourself a lot of headache and time tracking with the headphones on and knowing that you got a good take, you know.
And again, we all tend to think of audio as secondary because we're too busy framing the shot and this is where you want to spend your time and money.
Absolutely.
Dave, thanks so much for the time. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is MacVoicesTV at BlogWorld in Las Vegas. We'll be back again soon. Thanks for watching.
MacVoicesTV is part of the MacVoices group and a member of Mac Level 10.